Great crowd. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It's amazing. Get me out of the way.
We'll start with questions. Front row will go to Maggie Hendricks.
Thank you. Hi, Maggie Hendricks with Yahoo Sports. What are your expectations with Angel and Camellia here in their second year?
I think we're going to see different versions of both. When you get into the league as a rookie, you have to adjust, and a year has made quite a bit of a difference we've seen already. And I think with a new point guard and a new coaching staff, we're going to see Camila play a little bit differently. And I think we've already seen Coach Marsh highlight Angel's ability to be versatile. We've seen her in post-ups, we've seen her in short rolls, we've seen her pick and pop, pick and roll. We saw her at the 0.4 last game, and she's capable of making plays for other people. But both of their versatility is clearly special, and with more floor spacing, we're going to see them be able to operate a little bit easier.
And with both Maddie and Haley coming in, what do you want to see out of them so that you'll know that's been a successful first year for them?
Yeah, coming in as a rookie is going to be difficult. It's quite an adjustment. We've seen good and bad from both of them, but they pay attention, they work hard, they get extra work in. They're typically in there before everybody else. They're the last to leave, so they're about the right thing. So we're looking forward to it.
We'll go to Brian, then Chris, then Naomi.
Brian T, Chicago State of Mind. Jeff, just wanted to get your thoughts on just the veterans that you added to the mix. Just seeing training camp in the preseason, it seems like they've been really involved with the younger players.
Thoughts on training camp?
Yeah.
Look, when Tyler and I sat down and built a plan for training camp, our goal was to make it as competitive as possible. And we went out and got players for training camp that were probably going to make my job very difficult. And I got to tell you, the collective competitiveness that we felt day one up until a couple days ago was exactly what we were hoping for. So every day was tough. There was a lot of detail behind it. There was a lot of competitive play. There was a lot of physical play. People were fighting for jobs, and there was really early buy-in to Tyler. So we kind of got everything we needed out of camp.
We'll go to Chris, front row left.
Hey, Jeff. Chris with Fox 32. When you look at the last few spots of the roster, obviously Maddie makes the final roster. What went into the decision to let her get that final roster spot, and how difficult were those decisions at the end?
Yeah, that's the toughest part of the job, especially when you have players at training camp that are capable of making rosters in this league. We're at constraints with 12. So it gets difficult, and we knew bringing certain players in, it was going to be tricky. But at spots 11 and 12, and we'll still keep flexibility for a few more days to ensure we get it right. But, we're looking for players that are about the right things, especially as rookies, that have shown us that they have an open mind, that they want to learn, that they listen to the people around them, and that really accept coaching. And so far, they've shown that every day.
And we've seen the impact that Courtney has, not just on the court, but also throughout training camp. But I was wondering if you could explain a little bit more of what Kia Nurse brings in that same kind of vein on and off the court throughout training camp.
Vandersloot?
Kia Nurse, what she's brought.
Oh, Kia Nurse. Yeah. Kia Nurse was a critical acquisition, we've learned. The toughness and the grit that she brings are going to be the backbone again of what we want our identity to be. But look, she's shooting the ball at a high level. She's an extremely intelligent voice on the court and in the locker room. And she's just another vet that we brought here that is absolutely doing their job and proving that there's a real player there.
We'll go to Naomi, third row on your right, and then Steve Greenberg.
Hi, Jeff. Naomi Gray, Chicago Sports Network. Hey. Being that this team underwent so many changes since last year, what are you kind of feeling with the squad you have now, seeing that training camp has passed? Are you noticing a lot of differences in kind of the mentality or the production level?
Yeah, good question. Obviously, we made a lot of changes from last year's roster to this one. We needed to improve significantly in certain areas. We brought in a number of 3-point shooters. We brought in a number of new vets. We brought in a Hall of Fame point guard. There was improvements that needed to be made for us to be able to capitalize on our size and our youth, and to allow Angel and Camila and Elizabeth Williams, thank goodness now that she's back and healthy, you know, their jobs will get easier with floor spacing. So with some positional size, you know, as shooters, we're going to be able to do a lot. And with the schemes we're running now and what Tyler's using to highlight everybody, you know, we're in a much different strategic position.
Steve?
Morning, Jeff. Steve Greenberg from
Got
the
you.
Sun-Times. Hi. Beyond X's and O's, but more, I guess, culturally, what are you looking for? Did anything need to get better, and how do you feel about where you're at?
As far as coaching or just on the court?
Just the way I guess, chemistry, I suppose, the way the team fits together.
Yeah, we're always going to put a premium on toughness. We're going to put a premium on fit and talent, but you can't sustain winning without chemistry. So maybe you move on from a talented player to ensure that there's a good fit long term. And we have a selfless team right now that is really excited about playing together, and they're understanding more and more each day what their roles are going to be. But we've seen in these first few preseason games that the ball moves, and people are in positions to be successful. So we've seen a lot of good continuity, and we're just really excited about it.
We'll go Kaylin, then Jason, then Michelle, then Nancy, then Claire.
Hey Jeff, Kale Lumpkins with the Chicago Tribune. Coach March has put in like a completely new system here, and the Sky looked like a completely different team compared to last year. How excited are you to kind of see things going in the regular season, and what can you say about Coach March's ability to just completely flip the script of the team?
Yeah, I think you know, we were really excited about the hire months ago. He's, in my eyes, exceeded the expectations as a first-year coach already with how he has commanded buy-in immediately from the first day of camp. So outside of the system you guys are seeing, the relationships and the speed he's been able to build them with the players has allowed the buy-in to continue to grow. But yes, it's a new system. We've seen a lot of different usage from Angel already. And you want to make sure that we're really counting on the versatility of a number of our players. You know, we had Rachel Banham start as a point guard, and she's someone who's been a backup guard in the league. But we have players that you can plug in at different spaces, and I think our versatility and our depth is what's going to allow us to stay extremely competitive. And you know, it was by design, and a lot of that doesn't happen without Tyler, you know, back to your question. So, you know, the system, the action, the ATOs, things we've seen in just a short time have proven that he's pretty prepared for first year coach.
We'll go Jason, then Michelle.
Jeff, to your left. As you rebuild and you try to make a step forward from last year, what do you think is realistic to expect as far as making strides this season?
Good question. You know, we are always going to be in win now mode. We retooled. We knew we had to make some changes. We need to, you know, there's a number of roster improvements that had to be made. We're really confident about the group that we have, and as long as we're improving each day, you know, we'll gauge it that way internally. But you know, the goal is to make the playoffs in an extremely competitive league. Everybody's pretty good, you know, so it's going to come down to, you know, how hard we play every night, how hard we defend, because we have enough offensive weapons now. So as long as we execute Tyler's stuff, we feel pretty confident about where we could be in this league.
Michelle, same row.
Hey Jeff, Michelle Steele from ESPN. We've seen more and more WNBA teams bring on dedicated practice facilities, and the Sky are going to be one of those few teams that will have a facility coming online. What is your understanding of when that will be available to players? And then I have a quick follow-up to that in terms of, from a GM standpoint, what role does that facility play in retaining and attracting players?
Yeah, without a practice facility, it is going to continually be difficult for teams, you know, to acquire the most critical players in the league. And we want our players' experience to be paramount. And so ownership, you know, getting this thing done, is, for me, it makes my life easy because when I go into meetings with prospective players or when I'm speaking with agents, they need to understand the investment that our organization ownership is making. We've broken ground. To the best of my knowledge, we are absolutely on target to be in there before camp next year. And we've had a lot of player interaction with what's going to be in the building. It's going to be incredible. I'm been in a number of meetings and it gets more exciting, the closer we're getting to understanding exactly what's going to be inside the building.
Nancy Hammer, USA Today Sports. Jeff, what did you see or what did you like about Haley and how much easier do you think her transition is going to be coming to a team with a former teammate? She and Angel seem to have a really tight relationship.
I think that Haley's biggest skill will be her ability to adjust. She's got professional experience. She's been to a number of colleges and had to assimilate and had success everywhere. I think she's proven that she can struggle and still come back and be productive. She's had a number of challenging moments already, and she's still been able to make plays for us, especially timely ones. I think she's going to get used to how we're going to use her and when we're going to use her, whether it's on the ball, off the ball, but she's proven already she can see the floor, make plays for other people. And she had a couple big threes last game after having a difficult first half. And again, she's about the right things. So her fearlessness will carry her until she can adjust to our league.
We'll go to Claire, same row.
Claire Watkins, Just Women's Sports. Actually, just jumping off of that, there were obviously properties of Haley and Maddie's game that you liked on draft night, but with training camp being so short, what really impressed you in just these last 2 weeks of their ability, not only on the court, but to become part of that larger group?
The rookies?
Yes, the rookies.
I can tell you that they are built very similarly with their approach. And when we were doing our recon before the draft, we wanted to make sure any rookies that came here were about as close to aligned to our values as we could find. And during those interview processes, you learn a lot about players, what's important to them, and they've proven to be the people that they described to us that they were in those meetings. And every day, the truth's going to come out. You can work hard for a day, and then, those things can slowly diminish. We've seen the opposite with Maddie and with Haley. And they are about their basketball and they're really tough. They do film work every day with the coaches. They're immediately texting before and after games about extra work. So they're proving to us that they're here for the right reasons.
We'll go third row on your right, Chicago Sports Network.
Zach Badger House here, Chicago Sports Network. Just a follow-up question from something earlier. How important would you say expansion is for moving the league forward after having to cut some of those prominent players on the roster, from the roster?
As far as when we had to move on from players?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the toughest part of the job. You have really, really good players in camp intentionally. And as we move forwards, we have to make sure that the fit on the roster is the most critical piece. You add 12 players that should all be playing 20 minutes a game. It's not possible, fit and balance and, getting behind Tyler's vision as far as personnel is really what matters the most. And, positionally, we had to put ourselves in a place where we weren't too overloaded at one spot. So again, it's the toughest part for me. It's agonizing, especially when you see people come in and be about the right things and work hard every day. The league is small, the rosters are small, and we have to make decisions that we think are best for us.
We'll go to Alyssa, second row on your left. Last few questions.
Is it easier to hear without the mic or with the mic?
It could be.
Yeah, I think that echoes weird.
It is challenging, but I'm loving every second, Alyssa. Okay.
So just with the roster finalized, I think it would be good to hear a little bit more about Aisha and how she fits into the master plan and like why it makes sense to let her develop a little bit more before. Aisha Suka.
Okay. Yes, definitely. We feel like we really have, we retained our draft pick for next year since that's when she'll be coming. and we have to make decisions all the time, with the present and the future in mind. But again, like I said on draft night, I think she can be special. She's young. She's had a ton of success already at 19 years old. She'll be here next season. We speak to her regularly, and again, it's hard to pass up on 6'3", 6'4" shooter who's young and has proven that she can compete at the professional level. So with all the shooting we have now, that's a direction we're going to continue to go and stay. As long as Tyler and I are here, we're always going to be keeping an eye out for positional shooting.
We'll go Carly Bell, then David.
Hey, Jeff. First question is, you guys obviously wanted to add shooters in the off season, but you also added a lot of veteran experience. Just with the veterans that you added, they have 63 total seasons of experience under their belt. Why was that something that was so important to you when you were constructing this roster with Coach Marsh?
You can't survive long-term without vets with strong voices that players look up to, that need to hear from, that need to witness the work every day that they put in and why they are who they are. And we have vets at different ages now, who can bring something a little bit different to different players there. You got Vandersloot at the top, who is one of one, and is clearly the player that I knew she was and who she will continue to be. And when you have someone that special who's running the show, players will pay attention, maybe out of fear, if you know her, but also because her habits are very real. Her approach doesn't change. She's been the same person since I met her, and I'm sure since she got into this league. At her size and to do the damage that she's done and how she's taken care of her body, it tells a good story to anybody paying attention. That if you're about the right things and your habits and your choices, are what drive you as a pro, you can survive a long time in this league and probably have a chance to play longer than some others. So we want to instill those types of habits and choices in players like Elizabeth and Vandersloot and Kia and Rebecca Allen. Those were critical acquisitions for us because we have young players and they need somebody to lean into that are not the coach or the general manager, because as peers and as players, they're going to be able to ask them questions and get a little bit of a different response. And so far, the balance and the communication has been everything that we hoped it would be.
We'll go David and then close with Nikias. One quick question each, please. One quick question each, please.
Hi, Jeff. David Moses with the Bigs Media. How does this 2025 group reflect the long-term vision that you have set for the team?
Again, please.
How does-
2025 season.
Yeah, how does this group that you have assembled now reflect the long-term vision that you have for the team?
Our long-term vision is a tricky one due to the unknown that's moving forwards in our league, but we make informed decisions on today and the future, no matter what we're doing. But the vision is going to be the same. We are going to be committed to each other. We're going to be great teammates. We're going to put the attitude, the behavior, and the work ethic before everything else. Basketball is easy, okay? It's the ability to stay connected when things aren't perfect, and we put a group together, and this is the identity that we're going to move forwards with as long as I'm here, is that behavior and selflessness is going to be what carries you through difficult times. Everybody in this league can play. So we're going to try to build an identity of selflessness and players that want to make plays and sacrifice for the people next to them.
Close with Nikias on Zoom. Please unmute.
Thank you. Good morning, Jeff. Just wanted to ask quickly, what did you learn about the league last year? And from a play style perspective, can I be heard?
Where are you?
He's on Zoom.
Okay, got it.
Sorry about that.
Again?
Got you. Wanted to ask, based on last season, what did you learn about the league, either from a roster construction standpoint or an on-court thing? What kind of trends kind of stand out to you that may prevail throughout the league moving forward?
All right, somebody translate.
Can you repeat your question one more time, please?
What did you learn about the league last season, either from a roster construction standpoint or from a play style standpoint?
So that is a question about me. What have I learned?
Yes.
I've learned a lot. Last year was my first year, and we faced a number of challenging circumstances. I think what I've learned the most as far as roster construction is the importance of balance, and talent and fit are critical, but balance from top to bottom is what's going to allow you to survive through injuries, which we faced a lot. And I believe we've created some real depth compared to a number of other teams. I feel like that's a weapon for us this year. We've got a lot of players that we know can help, and building a roster is tricky for a number of reasons. But Tyler and I are very aligned, so I got a partner in crime there, where we see the game very similarly, we see people very similarly, and I think that this league is so competitive that every decision has a lot of weight to it. So that first year was a whirlwind for me personally, for a number of reasons. We had rookies that played a ton of minutes. We had a ton of injuries. We finished the season without 3 or 4 starters. I've learned that staying healthy is helpful. And I think that having vets with voices is critical in this league. I think common sense can answer a lot of these questions, but I'll leave you guys with, we could not be more proud of the staff that Tyler has built, and the players that are wearing our jersey right now. We are in a very, very proud state. I'm going to give Tyler all of the credit. I wasn't able to do the things that we got accomplished if he wasn't in that room with me this year, a majority of the time. So you're going to hear me say it all the time. He is the key to this operation. He's as skilled as a young coach as I've personally been around. And whenever I get the opportunity, even when it's not asked, I'm going to profess my love to that man, what he's doing for us right now. So I couldn't be prouder of what we're building. I think you'll see that today with your discussions with our players and Tyler, that we're trying to build something special. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but we're trying to put people in our jerseys that really represent this city the way we want it to. And we're there right now.